Hey everyone, this is Tommy Canale and welcome back to Before the Lights podcast, the show to find out how those in sports, music, and entertainment made their mark. Please go to our website, beforethelightspod.com, and follow us on Instagram at beforethelightspod. If you have a couple minutes, run over to Apple Podcast and rate and review the show. But it's time to get this one started. Go get yourself a coffee or a drink, whatever you prefer right now. Tell your family, friends, neighbors, and yes, tell strangers about this show. It's time to have an in-depth conversation with our guest. Today, we have the owner of L3 Method. She is a fitness model, the founder of Work, Grind, Fly, co-founder of the 300 Trainer. She is a nutrition coach, a mindset trainer, and can be found basically anywhere over social media. The very enthusiastic Lian Price. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for that intro, Tommy. That was so sweet.
No problem. We are going to take probably a stroll down memory lane for you and work our way up to where we are now. But everybody has pretty much a life story. And I want to go back. You grew up in New Jersey. And in New Jersey, you, before you got into fitness, dabbled in other sports. You were a lefty hooper at one time. Talk about the early stages of Lian Price.
Taking it back.
Yeah, taking it back. So what was it like in New Jersey and being an athlete there and before you got into fitness? Were you always active as a kid?
Yes, I was. My dad threw me on a track when I was 5 years old and was like, let's go. I remember that morning. It was very cold. And I was 5 and that quarter mile track looked so big, but I think I made it around like without stopping the first time. I can't really remember, but eventually I'm sure I did. And that's how everything started in the way of sports. Well, I was born in San Francisco. I lived there until I was 5, and then we moved to New Jersey. So In San Francisco, I do remember like roller skating and like just always being active, being at the park, being at Golden Gate Park.
And then in high school, you got into basketball and a couple other sports. Were you still doing running and fitness stuff related, or did you get away from that for a while?
Yeah. So, well, if you really want the juicy details, I started out as a ballet dancer.
All right.
I was like 7. And then I was told by my teacher, or I don't know if it's a teacher, but instructor, that I was really, really good. And it was time for me to go on point. And I checked out those toe shoes and what they do to your feet. And I was like, I don't want that. So at 11 years old, I said, screw this. I'm switching to basketball. And that's how I started playing basketball at 11.
Gotcha. And then we did that for a while, and then that went away. And what I think is really fascinating about your story is people, and it's just common way. People look at somebody and they judge them by what they see. You know, they can go to your social media pages and they can see all the fantastic photos you have there and have a perception of what they think you are. And it's far from that. I mean, you have this kind soul, and if people have gotten to know you, know what you're about, and you have opened up on social media and pretty much putting your whole life out there for others to read, which is really touching. And I want to kind of go back to that to let people understand where you've really come from. And that's where in high school, you really battled with some bad demon thoughts, and even got to the point to where you even thought about taking your own life, which thankfully that you did not do that. How did you, and I don't want to get into all those details, but how did you take yourself from being at that point going, all right, I got to pick myself up and find a way to better myself?
Yeah. Such a good question. And it's so interesting how fitness and sports weaves into all of that, because it was a double-edged sword. It was simultaneously part of the reason why I got to such a dark place, and also what saved me. And that continued to be the theme, in high school, in my 20s, in my 30s even. So yeah, I was a 3-sport varsity athlete. I was really, really hard on myself. I was running track, and then I switched to lacrosse, and I was doing cross country and of course basketball. And then I was playing AAU basketball in the summer, and I was the captain of my basketball team senior year. And my coach was really, really, really hard on me. And she's a wonderful lady, but man, she used to just get in my face and just scream. And at that point, actually backing up to like 16, that's when it was really like getting bad. At that point, I was also really at odds with my mother. And so those two influences in my life, those two people that were very close to me, it was a lot. And I didn't have like the tools for whatever reason to process emotions, maybe in a healthy way. And I just kind of pushed things down. And it was always kind of like that outward focus of what does this person want from me versus kind of going from an introspective, intuitive space. What is the best thing to do here, by my own, senses? What do they think is best? What do they want? What are their needs? Always being hyper vigilant about those, being 3 steps ahead, making sure that you can anticipate something before it happens. It's kind of like, the way I grew up in my home, because my mother is very sick, physically and mentally as well. And so kind of caring for her and trying to always make sure, she was taken care of, and that emotionally her needs were met as well. So what that causes is kind of like this vacant hole where you are so disconnected from your own emotions because you're constantly trying to understand the needs of others around you that you don't even know what you need. You don't even know what you're feeling.
Right.
So by the time I was so frustrated, and I couldn't access my own self, my own feelings. So in order to feel something so desperate to just feel, that's when I actually started cutting my wrists in high school. And that was a crazy year.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
And did somebody reach out and wrap their arms around you and help you, or did you do it yourself?
You know what? Actually, I want to credit 2 people. So that went on for about 1.5 years. And then towards the end of my senior year, I was dating a lovely guy, and he was an absolute sweetie pie. And he found out about it. I'm not sure if I told him or if he saw the cuts or whatever, but he made me promise to stop doing that. And I could tell, he loved and cared about me so much. And I like to say that I'm someone who keeps their word. So I made that promise to him. Then I left for college. So I went to college in Philadelphia. I went to art school, actually. And
you got a graphic design degree there, University of the Arts.
Yes. So I didn't really have him around, and I actually was paired up with a roommate. And I want to give her credit as well, because I don't know, at some point, maybe halfway through the first or second semester or something, I let her know kind of what was going on. And she said, hey, like you have support here. If you feel like you're having a panic attack, if you feel like you're having anxiety, if you get suicidal thoughts, just talk to me. Don't go in the bathroom and create a bloodbath. I don't want to come home to that, So I made that same promise to her, and I thankfully have not done that since.
That's good news. I was just going to ask, hopefully those demons have left and we're moving on. I'm sure they never leave, but we've learned to deal with them. And through all that, I mean, you go away to school, and as your story goes, you've had numerous jobs all over the globe, basically, in spectrum of doing this and doing that. But what led Lian to go fitness? I want to go into the fitness industry.
So it's super cliche. I love this. So I graduate from college with a graphic design degree, like you said. I go and intern at MTV in Times Square, which is really cool. And then I go and work for a design agency in New Jersey. Then I decide I want to be on the front end of the sale. I want to be behind a computer all day. I switched to mortgages. And then let's see, after that, so that was during The Big Short. Like right after that was like 2007, 2008. So everything went boom. So I became a nanny, which was a wonderful job. And I'm still in touch with that family today. So I had, in college, I would train my friends for free. We'd all go to the gym together. I'd show them what to do just from what I had learned training and building muscle for basketball. And when I was in art school, I was still, in the gym 2-3 hours a day, just being a meathead and and playing like street ball. I played a lot of street basketball when I was in college, and running and all of that. So I was driving home one night and I pulled over and I was super tired because I had a part-time job too. And I pulled out a fitness magazine and I started reading it that I had already bought a while ago. I don't know why. I remember that night though, it was snowing. It was really late. And I got to the back of the magazine and I saw one of those ads that said, turn your passion into your career. Become a certified personal trainer. And it's so cliche, but it just hit me. And I was like, yeah, I should do that.
And that's where it started. And then you made a decision somewhere to go from being out in the East Coast to moving to San Diego. Was that to increase the fitness, or did you see a need there, or were you doing something in New Jersey? How did you decide, I want to take this and go to San Diego and be a California girl?
Back to my roots. My dad's a Cali boy. He was like, you're going to make it back there someday.
Yeah, you go from San Francisco to East Coast and become a Jersey girl and back to a Cali girl.
Totally. What an interesting combo. So great question. I started working at a Gold's Gym, and then I switched to a different health club, and then I branched out and started my own business. I did very well for the first couple of years. I got married, and then my husband at the time got a major promotion, and it was here on the East Coast, on the West Coast. I'm getting confused with my coast for his job. So that's what caused the move. So I actually trained up an up and coming trainer in the area, sold my entire book of business to her, and moved out here and started all over again. Got a new LLC. I remember Christmas Eve, I was folding and stamping and hand mailing thousands of envelopes with my mother-in-law at the time, bless her heart, and just hustling to build up business to do like those direct mailers out here.
And that's what entrepreneurs do. You work crazy hours, as we all do, to try and make things work. The 300 trainer, was that done in New Jersey or was that done in California?
300 trainer is like a running joke with my friend. Like, I'm going to invest in 300 trainer. So 300 trainer was the perfect way to describe it. Was that saying, if you're right too early, you're wrong. So it was 2015 into 2016, myself and a good friend, we realized that what I was doing, how I had kind of adopted very early on online training through FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, what have you, was a great method for personal trainers to train their clients safely, effectively, have the clients save money, have everyone create a lower carbon footprint, and help the trainers maximize their time, basically getting more sessions in less time so that they can make more money. So the other part of that is, okay, this is a great idea for monetary purposes for trainers, but we have to make sure that they're doing things safely and that they're doing things effectively so that they're still delivering a high-end result. So we created a certification course, and that was 300 trainer.
Gotcha. And talk about certifications. I'm going to read off. Google it. This lady's got crazy certifications to her name, but some of them are, she's a NASM certified physical trainer, NASM prenatal training specialist, also an NASM group trainer. She's an ISSA certified fitness nutrition specialist and fitness boxing trainer, a Spartan SGX coach, obstacle race training specialist, and the list goes on and on. When you got to that magazine, did that just light a fire and you're just like, I want to learn everything, so I want to be certified in everything, so somebody can't come to me and I go, well, I can't help you?
Yeah. And you know how so many times your purpose is just born out of your pain. So growing up, the emphasis was always on health because my mother was so sick. So there was, and I thank them for this. It was always, okay, how can we prevent this from happening, for for Lian, for future generations. So my mom also didn't just take her doctors at their word. So she would like learn about every vitamin and every mineral and every nutrient and how it responds to the body. And I just picked that up. I grew like this insatiable thirst for knowledge of all things nutrition before any of that started. So that really was kind of the beginning of it, paired with just how I've always found, solace in exercise. And the other part of that pain into purpose is just, and this is hard to talk about, but like my mother, I always wanted to take away her pain and I couldn't do it. And I always wanted to take away her deep, deep insecurity in herself, being, my mother's beautiful, but she doesn't believe it. My mother doesn't believe she's good enough or whatever the things. So of course I went and made a career out of helping women see how beautiful they are and to help them be healthy and fit and live an optimal life that's pain-free and full of confidence and just, vitality.
When you were going through did it just take over your life? Just learning, or did you have obstacles along the way? I'm sure you were trying to keep a job at the same time. How did you balance all that?
My certification programs?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the first one, the CPT, is definitely the heaviest. So that one was difficult because, let's see, I was working as a floor manager at Gold's Gym, and I was studying. And then I passed. I remember part of that time was like this really, really, I don't remember if there's a name for it, but it was this really bad, like snowstorm of that like time in
like a blizzard.
New Jersey. Yeah, it was like a blizzard that lasted for like a week. So we were snowed in. So I just studied.
There you go.
But all the certification courses after that, I mean, I guess like, I don't really think about it. I work, I learn, I sleep, I work out, try to have a little bit of a social life, and you just do it. And when you enjoy it, you don't keep track of the hours or,
Right. No, I get it. Cause my other position of helping high school athletes get scholarships, a lot of times people say, well, how many hours do you work? I don't know. Totally. I don't. I mean, I know I don't work 40, but I know it's up there, but you do it because you love it and you see the rewards on the other end of helping people. And that kind of takes over. You're now rolling into the fitness thing. Where did the idea come up with for Work, Grind, Fly, which is like a fitness fusion thing? Because that was really cool. And then now that's going to go to L3, which we will get into. But where did your idea come up with, hey, I want to do something and let's call it Work, Grind, Fly? Which was, I think, that was in what, 2011 maybe?
Yes. June 13th, 2011 was when I formed my my first LLC, which was Fitness Fusion LLC in New Jersey. And yeah, doing business as, and I got it, it became a registered trademark, Work, Grind, Fly. So I tossed around so many ideas. And at the time I was really noticing that things like restaurants and movies and just other companies, if the name had 3 words, it told a story. It was kind of like, here's the before, middle, after. I don't know. And so I kind of just picked up on that as how do we show the client what their journey is or what they can look forward to. So the message behind it is you work hard, you grind it out, and then you feel like flying when you're done.
That's fantastic. And and it's still going today, just in a different format. And in that same time period, you make a decision to go vegan. Why then? And if you can explain the benefits, I'm a vegetarian, so I have questions, and you're going to get questions as well. So you know where I'm going with it. But what was your decision to go, I'm just going to go full vegan?
Such a good question. So, and so close to my heart. So, and we want to differentiate because to be vegan is different than to eat a plant-based diet, right? So when we're plant-based, we're eating foods mostly from plants. If we are vegan, we believe in 4 basic principles. We believe that animals are not here for us to eat, for us to wear, for us to be entertained by, or for us to experiment on. So veganism is really a lifestyle that can branch into like what type of, cleaning products are you using, and are they tested on animals? Do you buy a leather couch? Do you buy a down comforter? As well as, of course, what are you eating? And there are varying degrees of strictness. And what I encourage you and everyone listening is just go easy on yourself. You can't be perfect in an imperfect world. You just can't do it. I'm going to get on a plane at some point and I'm going to sit on a leather seat, and lots of birds get caught up in the plane machinery. So, there are people who are very, very strict. I might be going off on a tangent.
No, it's okay.
There are people who are so strict as to say, well, things like watermelons and strawberries require bees. So if you have to keep bees and kind of control them to work for you on your watermelon farm, then a watermelon isn't vegan. So it's like, there's varying degrees.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, why did I decide to go vegan? It's just like my story with the magazine ad in the back of the fitness magazine. It's kind of cliche, but it is what it is. I just watched so many of those documentaries. I just saw, I went down a rabbit hole and I saw what was really going on behind the iron curtain of our food industry here in America. And I absolutely could not put my head on the pillow at night and believe that I was aligning my values with my actions. I couldn't wrap my head around supporting these industries. Now, I definitely went vegan for the animals. I didn't go necessarily for health purposes. Of course, the health purposes are endless for being vegan, of course, but it is a very personal decision at the end of the day. With that, there were steps. I went vegetarian I want to say it was like October of 2010, maybe, or no, I'm sorry. It was like October of 2011. So it was like that. It was after I went into business for myself. And then I just started cutting out things one by one. And, some of the last things to go were dairy and fish. And I also want to encourage people to really, really be compassionate. I believe that dairy is probably the most addictive food on the planet. We probably don't have too much time to get into all the science and the chemicals and the reasons behind that. But if you crave dairy and you're like, when is this going to stop? I hear you. I get you. I crave dairy for like years. And I would, once in a while go back and grab something for about 2 years after that. And thankfully today, there are so many dairy-free options and there's new ones just cropping up every single day, which is really, really cool. So what I really support people with in the L3 method is we have this dairy-free conversion chart that I created. So it's like, if you need some cheddar, get this brand. If you need some mutts, go with this brand, because like some brands make a great mutts and they make a terrible cheddar. You know what I mean? The struggle is real. So I don't want people to like spend all their money trial and error. Let's take that out of the, let's just take care of that for them and show them exactly what to get. This is what I really encourage people to do, is focus on being dairy free for their health, almost more so than almost any of the other items. And
if you would kind of go into it, what has it done for you health-wise and fitness-wise? I mean, for me, where I'm at in my journey, I've never felt better with what I do with my nutrition and running and working out. It's changed my life. So to get it from somebody who's got certifications much more than I do will help carry some of the things that I've always put out there.
Well, that's so good to hear. I love that. So you want me to speak about myself, my own personal, okay. Well, when I went vegan, like 7 pounds just dropped off, like just like gone. and I definitely think like a lot of that had to do with the dairy, because I think I had a subtle intolerance to it. But yeah, all the chicken, the salmon, the steak, the eggs, all the cholesterol, all that fat, like it's just, ugh. So yeah, within like 2 weeks, I just saw like 7 pounds just drop off. So I do remember that. I remember having so much more endurance at the gym, like right off the bat. Now, oftentimes I'll hear people report that the first few weeks they feel more sluggish because their body's going through a bit of a detox. And then after that, the body's like, like, let's go. So I fortunately didn't really experience the detox side of it. I guess I was already pretty clean with my eating. So even as clean as I was, following that typical bodybuilder diet, right? With like the chicken, the fish, and the rice and the asparagus and what have you. Even following that, and then to come off all of the animal products, the weight just dropped off. And so for me, I'm 5'4", 7 pounds is a big deal. And coming off my frame, it just allowed me to go longer, go stronger. I started lifting more weight than I ever had in the gym. I was really showing off at that point at the gym. My ego was out of control at the gym. It's ridiculous.
Well, we're gonna get into the gym and the bodybuilding and the swimsuit stuff here in a second. Before we get there, everybody, I want you to check out Buzzsprout. You'll get a great looking podcast website, audio players that you can drop into your other websites, detailed analytics to see how people are listening, tools to promote your episodes, and more. We use Buzzsprout with Before the Lights. It's a great, great tool. I mean, you can pay for it by the hour. You don't have to worry about sizing and all that kind of stuff. And if you go to the show notes and you tell them I sent you, they're going to give you a $20 Amazon gift card. So make sure you go to the show notes. Everybody could use an Amazon gift card right now in these times. So check out Buzzsprout. Once again, the link will be in our show notes. Lian, back to it. Your fitness journey and helping others wanting to lose weight, get stronger, be healthier, the entire spectrum. What does that do for you from a reward standpoint? How does that make you feel?
Oh my gosh, everything. I have goosebumps right now just from you saying that. I am obsessed with what I do. I mean, every single call, every single message on Slack I get from our members, every win, even every struggle, like I'm in it. It's like, it's always game time. I don't know. I am obsessed with finding the solutions to my members. And I say members, like the members of L3 Method. So I guess I should say clients so people can understand, but I'm obsessed with finding solutions to their pain. I'm obsessed with showing them who the F they are. I'm obsessed with helping women remember who they are and that fitness and a healthy body that they feel comfortable and confident in is their inherent birthright. And that is the end of the story.
And it's never too late to start.
No,
I get this all the time. Well, I'm such and such age, it's too late to start. I'm like, it's never too late to start.
Do you still have a body? Are you still walking around?
Right.
It's not too late. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Come on, don't live one foot in the grave here. Like, yeah, it's not too late. And the magic's in the little things for people who have, women who have been through menopause and they really truly think it's too late. It's a lot of tweaks that they never would think about. It's a lot of like little magical tweaks that go unlooked. And if we can tap into those, then it's more painless, the transitions that will provide the weight loss and those other results.
And where I want to go with this is people are going to have excuses why they can't do this or why they don't want to start. And I'm going to take you back to another dark time so people can understand you can do this. You had 2 back surgeries.
Yep.
And we're going to get into those. And after the first one, I want you to talk about the pain you experienced, how you had to overcome this setback, and you had 6 weeks of no exercise. So let's back up a little bit, talk about what happened that you had to have the first back surgery.
First of all, I had close to 4 months of no exercise.
Wow.
Yeah, because we have to think about when I was on crutches prior to the first surgery.
And what caused that?
Remember, going back to high school, remember my great ability to completely disconnect from my body. Remember that? My inability to understand the messages that were being communicated very strongly to me.
Yes.
Feeling so empty and so, devoid of my own kind of like autonomous power. So with that, the physical cues, not just the emotional cues. the physical cues, and the ability to ignore them and push through the pain. This is something that's touted and celebrated in the fitness industry, in sports. And I am taking a stand for that to change. That's why I work, grind, fly, I changed the L3 method, because grind, working hard, that doesn't resonate with my message anymore. But that's a side note. So keep me on track, Tommy. Yeah. So in high school, I believe that I probably herniated my disc back then, to be honest with you, because I always had back pain from the time I was, maybe 15 on, and I would just ignore it. I'd just be like, I have back pain. What am I, not going to live my life? What am I, not going to do cool stuff? I'm going to go go run a half marathon. Yeah. I'm going to go into my 20s. Yeah. I'm going to go compete in a Spartan and then strap on a pair of heels, even though I can't stand up straight, and go out afterwards and celebrate. I mean, just ridiculous. So I believe I herniated the disc way back in the day, and I just would kind of be in and out of the chiropractor to just deal with it. So because the actual workout, it was April 27th, 2016. I remember all these dates, but that workout was no big deal. It wasn't this momentous moment where I was like, rah! There were so many of those leading up to it. There were so many workouts where Lian's deadlifting 225 for 8 reps in the gym and feeling, and just ignoring it. There are so many, Lian's back squatting with, again, 225, and she's showing off for her ex-husband, husband at the time. She's showing off for her friends. Lian's doing these crazy box jumps that are as high as her chest, and just, I don't know, craving that external validation that I was enough, that I was whatever, badass. And so I think that I was herniating more and more and more. The disc was slipping more and more out of place with those things, because I would remember those. But April 27th, just did a silly, lame, no big deal leg workout. Woke up the next morning, something was different. It wasn't like the usual back pain. It was radiating down my leg, which I later learned was sciatica. And it just got worse and worse and worse, to the point where I was in and out of the ER. They would give me crutches and Percocets and say, okay. And I just was so stubborn, so anti-surgery. Tommy, I was the personal trainer in the gym on crutches. How unmotivating is that, to have a trainer on crutches?
I got you.
That's lame. And I was just taking all the drugs that and I'm not like that at all. I don't even take Advil ever. And and I was taking everything under the sun to try to continue to function, to earn income, to keep my business going, to keep a roof over my head, and trying not to get surgery. And then finally, after there was a spread of 3 days in a row in August of 2016 that I couldn't sleep. I didn't. So after the third night of no sleep, I finally got up and started Googling how to get an MRI. And when I went, the MRI, and then the surgeon made a joke when he opened me up and saw the protrusion. He said, "Is it a boy or a girl?" Because That's how big the herniation was. He thought it was 10 millimeters. He thinks that it was probably more than that. And it was one of the worst that he'd ever seen. Yeah.
So you have the surgery, pretty much 4 months, as you said, of no exercise, have all this pain. Did you have doubt then about, am I ever going to get back to being my normal self again?
First of all, I want to be very transparent. So with no exercise, so remember me, right? Who exercises twice a day, 2-3 hours, 6-7 days a week. So I was exercising, but here's what I was doing. I was getting in the pool one-legged and swimming with one leg and 2 arms, and then getting out of the pool, crawling out, getting back on my crutches. That was what I was doing.
You found a way to stay active somehow.
Insane.
Yes.
That was about all I could do. Okay. What was your question? I'm sorry.
And I was going to, did you have doubt that you'd ever get back to feeling 100% again?
Absolutely. I thought I would never be able to run again. I'd never be able to lift. I'd never be able to snowboard. I'd never be able to rock climb, all the things I love to do, surf. And some things I cannot and won't do. And that's fine. I don't care, because living and being able to walk without pain is the greatest gift. And I'm not willing to sacrifice that for anything. My ego can chill out.
Why did you need to have a second back surgery?
I was showing off. I was, and this is another thing. My surgeon said, I made a bet with the nurses that you would be back here and you would re-herniate, because people like me, people who are in the fitness industry, our 50, because he's like, go 50% after you're done, with your first 6 weeks, right? My 50% is like some people's 150%. So yeah, so like still was learning the process of reading my body signals, of communicating with my body, of tuning in and saying, hey, what do you need right now? Like, what am I, so in pragmatic terms, if you're at the gym and you're on your 7th rep and you're determined, and you said, I'm doing 15 reps of this exercise, and you're on your 7th and your back says, no, you stop on that 7th rep, even though that's frustrating for us, heady people. 7, I can't stop there,
Right. This is what I'm talking about, where people have excuses that I can't do it. I have this. You've had 2 back surgeries and we're not even done yet. You also have gone from being frail, from being a muscle woman, a bikini competitor. You've been all over the spectrum, from the most frail to buff. And every time that's happened, you've had to overcome something. Recently, you've become an emotional eating recovery certified coach. So you can help people in all kinds of ways to say, I can't do it. I have this, I have that. Every single time you have found a way to get back up. As they always say, when you get up or you get knocked down, you got to get back up. But going through all that, was there one point that sticks out more than the other, Lian, of at this point, man, I was really worse than I realized I was?
You mean between surgery 1 and surgery 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that was like the worst point. And you make such great statements. It's like I used myself a bit as not a sounding board, but it's like I'm so grateful for all the experiences that I have gone through because of my ability to relate to a wider spread of people. So, for instance, when I was doing bikini competitions, I developed body dysmorphia, which I didn't have before. So I'm so grateful for that experience, because now I understand what it's like to have, body dysmorphia severely. After those competitions were finished, my adrenals were tanked. My metabolism was down around my knees. I could look at food and gain weight. It was completely different from, what maybe the past was like with my metabolism. I really damaged it. So I had weight to lose, coming to California, starting a new business, and feeling like a fraud as a personal trainer, with like an extra whatever on me. And so there was that to contend with. Between surgery 1 and surgery 2, when I re-herniated, it was another 3 to 4 millimeters. So it was kind of like a little bit more back pain than like the normal back pain of my, entire adult life. So I was like, oh, we're back to this. So after the second surgery, my surgeon said, listen, because it was the same disc, that brake pad, you know what I mean? So I can't do that again, because if I do, then I have to fuse the disc. And then that really takes away my ability to do certain things. So that I'm appreciative of that, because that's what really started on my path to helping women be intuitive, to check in with their bodies, to not push themselves to that brink. I hadn't learned that lesson yet with surgery 1. Sad as it is to say, just a stubborn person.
It took 2 to get it through.
Yeah, it took 2. And so I would like to say I learned it after the second time, and I'm not unlearning and relearning that again. That's not happening.
That's good. February 12th of this year, 2020, you announced the L3 Method Fitness, which is basically lose the last layer, which I think is really cool. Regardless of body type, health challenges, Lian's got a program for you. She's got a 90-day program, and I want you to take it from there and kind of give everybody where L3's at, how they can get in touch with you, what you do, and then I got a couple follow-up questions before we go.
Thank you so much. So yeah, I really took my time with this iteration of the company. Yeah, L3 stands for lose the last layer. And that's really whatever it means for each woman, whatever she believes her last layer is. And it's in the metaphorical sense as well as the physical sense, because we're finding, right, in the fitness industry that it's not just about the actions that lead to the results. It's about the core beliefs that are way behind the actions, thoughts, and feelings. Those core beliefs are running the show. And they're addicted, because how many times, I'm sure people listening can relate to this. How many times are you like, I should drink more water. I should drink more water. I'm going to drink more water. I really should. And you don't drink more water. And you're like, why don't I do this? And a great example is I had a client, this was beautiful, who couldn't get herself to drink more water. That was the one thing that she couldn't do. She just couldn't do it. And so we got in and we did some deep work, and we uncovered an old memory she had from high school or middle school where she was hospitalized for something, and the nurse, doing her best, forced her to drink, like guzzle a ton of water. And it was traumatizing. She had buried that, but look how beautiful that is, that she has a protector that's trying to keep her safe. The only thing is the protector's working with old information and it's not relevant anymore. She's now safe. So once we got to that and we were able to open it up, develop awareness, because when you develop awareness, then you can develop a relationship. When you can develop a relationship with that part of you, then you can begin to heal it. And once that was healed, no problem. Anyway, I'm again going off on a tangent, but yeah, it's lose the last layer, L3 method. We baited the group last spring, so spring of 2019. And at that point, it was men and women. I still had Work, Grind, Fly going on, and we went to town trying all these like really cool things. We gave people a really, really great discounted price to be part of that beta group. So thankful for them. Shout out to all those members. And then I really took my time figuring out what my voice got to sound like in the marketplace, what the brand really was all about, what was our mission statement, what are our core values, who is our exact woman that we like, that we're dying to work with, that we just want to like go hand in hand on this fitness journey with. So lose the last layer. L3 method is for busy women, oftentimes overachievers, women who are very hard on themselves, right? Who have busy careers, children, families. Maybe were athletes in the past, maybe they weren't. And they want to be a part of a fitness program and then be done. They want to learn the things that they need to learn so that they can become intuitive eaters and intuitive exercisers. That's something we don't often talk about. Learn about the 5 lifestyle habits, customize those 5 habits to themselves, which are, by the way, your water, in no particular order, your water, your exercise, your sleep, your nutrition, and your stress levels and your management of those. Learn about their unique body type. I developed 11 body types that people can take a quiz on, figure out which one is theirs. And the motivation behind that was there's a lot of body types out there that are like only having to do with metabolism, and body types that only have to do with body shape. And who wants to be called a pear, by the way? Who wants to be called an apple? Like, not me. That's not motivating. No. I don't think it's motivating to be called an ectomorph or a mesomorph. So the body types I created envelop both concepts. Like, where is your metabolism right now? What's the framework we're working with right now? And how can we become the architect of our own metabolism, right? As well as what is our genetic body type, and match that with the individual's goals and kind of how they want to shape their frame, their body to look like. So the L3 method's a flex program. It's 3 to 5 months because people have busy lives. I find often people will sign up for something and all of a sudden life hits them and there's like a month delay. No problem. Just hang out for an extra month. Take your time. It's a 12 module course. There are tons of resources as far as recipes. Obviously the customized nutrition plans for the person's body type, all of the workouts, same thing. Resources for sleep hygiene, for hydration customization, for, podcasts to listen to, and books and vloggers and all of that. And then the other side of it, of course, is the communication side. And we have group calls, private one-on-one calls. Everyone gets a private coach, full on 24/7 support, as well as we do weekly challenges for cash prizes too. We kind of gamify healthy habits, which is super, super fun.
And where can they go find L3 Method at?
L3method.fit.
L3method.fit. It'll be also in the show notes, so you can get the link there, and it'll also be in the comments of the podcast, so you can find it there as well. A couple more questions, Lian. One, struggles today in your current life that you're constantly battling to improve yourself or improve your business?
Well, besides COVID, that's not funny, but
it's there. It's apparent to everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, so going along the thread of COVID, I am one of those people that prefers to work out at the gym. I prefer to have a state change, right? To leave my place in order to get a really amazing workout in. And I'm working out at home. So I'm figuring out how to enjoy that and get just as motivated for that. Cause I do find myself like skipping workouts because it's just like, I want to leave my house, you know?
Yeah.
I could tell you what I've done to remedy that. It's pretty funny.
Go ahead.
I created and I wrote a post on this on Instagram. But I created like a party for myself, like a sensory overload. So I like put like the lights on, I have music going. I have like a reality TV show on mute with like the people that inspire me and motivate me. And, I have like a picture up on the wall. Like I'm just, let's go, let's do this. Like I'm doing whatever I can to really motivate myself to get it done.
And I think you have to be creative these days, which you are. And I think everybody's finding more creative ways to stay active. And those that are us that are like to be active, it's hard for us just to sit down and go, I'm going to sit on the couch and watch TV. And you may have intents to do that. And after about 20 minutes, you're like, okay, I got to go do something. Or I have to get up and go walk or just do something. So you have to be creative to continue to stay active, and everybody will get through this. Last thing, where can people find you on Instagram, Facebook, those platforms you're on?
Instagram, my favorite. It's just my name, Lian Price, no spaces, no periods, just LianPrice, Lian Price on Instagram. And let's see, Facebook.com/Lian.Price, or you can do /L3method. Yeah.
And all those, again, will be linked. Show notes, comments, we'll make sure they can find you. It'll also be on our website. Lian, thank you so much for, coming on and telling your story and letting people know that, hey, you can do this no matter where you are in your platform and in your lifestyle, no matter what your body shape is. We don't look at people's shape as fruits. And, we continue to go forward. And like I said, you can judge a book by its cover. They can look at your Instagram or your Facebook and go, oh, she's one of those. And it's far, far from that. And I'm thankful you came on and told your story.
Thank you so much, Tommy.
Absolutely. Everybody, thank you for listening and taking time to spend some time with Lian and I today on the show. Patreon members, make sure you spread the word, and you can go to patreon.com/BeforeTheLightsPod to get the extra 5. For show notes, like I've said a couple hundred times, you can go to the website, beforethelightspod.com, and follow us on Instagram @BeforeTheLightsPod. Thank you for listening to Before the Lights. I'm Tommy Canale. We'll talk to you next time. And until then, stay healthy, be safe, and keep smiling, everyone.